singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, 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 rockin' robin, tweet.
Welcome to Life is Good. I'm Heather McEwen, your ever-loving hostess, and guess who we have today? We've had Raymond now on here before, un vrai Québécois comme moi, and pas comme maudit anglais. Anyway, we're here to laugh, but we're here to talk about something that will affect all of your lives. It probably has already, and it's death. But it's not so much that we're dealing with death or loss. We're dealing with how to elevate yourself past that point of total desolation because you have lost someone so close to you, and this is a Christmas day. What an inconsiderate wife you had dying on Christmas Day.
That is why I wrote in the book, her death make me alive or born again, because on 25th of December, so which is usually, the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
So that is why I wrote this sentence. Yeah,
okay. But the difference between living again after you lose someone who you're so close to, who represents half of your body and half of your heart. And it's not like you're born again as an evangelical Christian. You're born again because you learn how to love life again without that person here in their solid form.
Exactly.
And you've had this wonderful experience. We'll just clue you in a little bit before we talk about the books.
Yeah.
What happened right after you got home from the memorial service? He's so funny. He always laughs at these things.
Her name is Sylvie. So just before Sylvie died, she just told me from where I'm going to be, I'm going to love you and help you more. And on this 15th of January, when I come back from a memorial, from the funeral, there was a book fallen on the floor.
There was no reason why that book should have fallen on the floor.
Exactly.
So
because it was on the shelf like this, and when I came back, the book was on the floor. And it was the only book that I didn't read. So I just, of course, I could, take the book and just put it back in the shelf. But I just said, no, my love, I'm going to read it.
And what was that book about?
How to fully embrace and welcome our emotions.
Sylvie did take care of you.
Yes.
Now,
So
the same thing has happened to me when I've lost my relatives. My brother when he was 33, my mother when she was 48. My father when he was 10 days away from being 90. But all of these people who are so, entrenched in your soul, they don't leave you right away until you're ready to let them go. And I'm just really selfish, so I talk to them every day. I say, no, you can't leave me now. But there are so many signs that they're still with us. And love, they say God is love, and I think love is an intangible force and energy.
Exactly.
And love doesn't die. So we're stuck with them.
Yeah. I like that, because more often we heard, okay, let them go.
No.
But no, I said, no. It's, I don't know what's the word in English for sacrilège.
It's sacrilegious.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, to let them go because of that love. And for experience, we can just make a ritual, for example, to let them, to return them to earth.
Yeah.
And to invite them to make their trip and continue to live. But in the same time, this is mostly just paradox. That's my experience. So life is just paradox.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not afraid to die.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I have a very strong faith in this universal energy which is love. Because I've seen too many miracles in my life to say, oh my gosh, nothing happens. Too many miracles, but I forget where I was going with this. Wait till you're my age.
We're talking about sacrilege or
Oh yeah, disrespect.
Don't let them go because
No, if it's a continuum.
yeah.
And let's say my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents are still with my great-great-great-grandparents, and they don't necessarily filter down all the way to me because it becomes diluted through the generations, but they're there taking care of the generation that went before them, and them, and them, and them. And oh yes, I said I wasn't afraid to die.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I don't want to, because I'm very selfish, and I would hate to say goodbye to my friends and my family, and I wouldn't want my anything to happen to anyone I love or my children. But it happens, God forbid, you know. But at that point, this is when you come in to tell people at that worst day, point, time, year of their lives when they've lost someone who's indispensable, how to get in touch with their emotions honestly. Mm-hmm. So your second book does that. How was that for a segue?
The second book is mainly about resistances. So we don't like to suffer. It is too painful sometimes. But for my experience, when we go there, it is just like, and this is the paradox that it's like stars. So it's 3 p.m. So are we seeing stars in the sky right now? No. But they're. And when they are, we can see them better on darkness, when it's dark. Mm-hmm. And you're living, you know, in a country, but in those places without those city lights and everything, it seems bigger, the stars. And it's like we have like a billions more in the sky because they're more dark. It is darker.
It's visible, yeah.
So
you say the same thing with the spirit world. We don't see them. We don't see our guardian angels or our family who are our guardian angels. But that doesn't mean they're not there in their multitudes. Isn't that grand? Let's turn off the lights and see if we can see anybody.
I can feel her.
I know.
All the time.
Yeah.
And this paradox, because about resistances, we don't want to go there. So resistances is what I'm afraid to discover if I'm going there. If I'm going there in this sadness or anger or fear, what I'm going to discover. And that's the meaning of resistances. And when we just fully welcome that fear, and then the magic just operates. I don't know how. I don't know how, but this
Have you read The Secret? The Secret? C'est un livre, c'est 6 papiers.
Oui.
Depuis à peu près 20 ans, c'est The Secret.
Yeah, I know.
Mais c'est toujours quand l'univers est là pour nous. Oh, sorry. When the universe is there for us. It's a beautiful thing, and it's bred into us. A lot of organized religions, organized religions say, you must not feel this or experience this unless we tell you it's okay. Mm-hmm. Or there are religions that insist on guilt. They say guilty for joy, guilty for, you know, anything, you know. God forbid anybody have a multiple orgasm, you know, you're going straight to hell.
Yeah.
You know, if you're lucky. Oh, I'm so old. When you're my age, you can say anything. Anyway, so the thing about life is that we are told from the time we're very little what is good and what is bad.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And so when we do feel this complete contentment and joy and openness to everything, you know, we have to filter it in slowly or we get a shock. Mm-hmm. So I've been told that if you open up too quickly, it's called touching the sun. Toucher le soleil.
Le soleil, oui.
Brûler. We will burn ourselves if we touch the sun. Mm-hmm. So the answers are there, but we can't get them all the time. A very wise woman told me, and I tell this to everybody, we're born with all the answers, On était né avec toutes les réponses.
Oui.
We're born with all the answers, but we cannot ask all the questions in one lifetime. So just no pressure, you know, there's no pressure
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And so if we just sit there, and I think living in Vermont, ou à Québec, vous demeurez-vous à Québec? Where do you-
Magog.
Magog,
Yeah.
ok. Vous n'êtes pas dans le pays, mais vous êtes c'est proche.
Tout près.
You're
30 minutes.
You're 30 minutes from the country. When you go out into whatever place finds contentment,
Mm-hmm.
you let down your resistance,
Mm-hmm.
and the world happens. Now, for every hour I go out into the big world, I have to spend 2 or 3 hours in my little nest
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so that I can open up again. Because immediately you go out, and this is natural for people. People shut down to protect themselves
Yeah.
from what they consider inevitable. But if you walk down the street and you feel content, people come up and hug you. It's like, I've watched you. You know, I've seen you in the coffee shop in Newport.
Yes, yes, yes.
So here we are, having coffee in the coffee shop. I'm with my friends, and you walk in, and immediately somebody at the next table goes, "Oh," and they walked up and hugged you.
Yeah.
And they had just told me that they had lost their mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, cause for celebration in many worlds, but this one was I had terrific. My mother-in-laws were fantastic.
I love your sense of humor so much.
Well, when you're my age, I say you can do anything you want. But I've seen that happen. If you're open and filled with contentment, it shows it's contagious, it's necessary in this world.
Yeah.
So, do you get that in Magog too?
Yes, and we made about 60 conferences, 60 conferences for the last 6 months
What's that controversy?
in elder places, elder residences.
Oh!
In Quebec area of Magog, we made 60 conferences. And
Oh, conferences!
conferences, yes.
Okay, sorry.
About the book and so on, and just to welcome their suffering.
Yeah.
And what you say about hugging, it's the same thing. So when they come after, I just said to people at the beginning of the conference, I'm not going away after 1 hour, it's finished, bye bye, merci, bonsoir. No.
No, c'est pas c'est pas
I'm
fini.
staying there with you. If you would like to be listened, I'm going to stay with you. We're going to take a little place just together, a quiet place, and you can talk to me. And sometimes we stay for 2 hours more.
What do they tell you?
Oh my God! I remember this woman. She's 95 years old, and she said, "You know, Raymond, like that.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, I was in the Grange,
In the Grange?
and I saw my father put my brother in the ground.
Oh, she was at the cemetery.
No, just behind the Grange, but he didn't.
Oh, the garage maybe. Behind their house maybe?
Grange barn.
Barn.
So I was playing in a barn, and he never knew that I was in a barn, and I just saw him, take a shovel and put my brother that was dead in this hole, just behind the barn, and I'm stuck with this secret for 90 years now, because I was 5 years old and I cannot say that to my kids and my children.
Oh.
And she said, whom I can say that? And that's what happened when we just open and just be in compassion and benevolent with those people and listen to them. And sometimes, and that's one of the example. And the other one that totally stunned me is this old man, in wheelchair, and I helped him to take him from the wheelchair to the chair. And at the end, he said, Raymond, my father died when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
and I looked all my life to find him again
Oh,
in others,
you do that.
in relationship with others.
Mhm.
And this is not you. I'm not inventing anything. It's everybody knows that, but we just forget it. So, and I said, oh my God. And that struck me because I said, okay, if someday I have somebody in my life, what I'm going to do with it? I will look for Sylvie in this person? And I said, yes.
Why not?
Of course.
You need
Of course.
the connection. And
The connection, you got it, the
And-
connection.
it's funny that you should say that because my mother died when I was young.
Mm.
And I feel her with me, but
Mm.
I see her in my son.
Mm.
And it's so amazing that, you know, it's like in a flash, if I look fast, if I look quickly, I can see her, and it's not physical. Ce n'est pas physique, ce n'est pas comme son
Non, non,
physique, chose comme ça. C'est seulement dans son air. It's in his soul.
Yeah. Energy or...
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh, hi, Mom, you know, because she was so kind and so gentle. And my son is very kind, and I hope he's gentle. But, you know, I'm thinking of when he was a little boy, that soul is so pure as a child, and then when they grow up, they fit into different situations and
Yeah.
grow and
Yeah.
grow and grow. So, but there's a little bit of my mom still left. And so I know what that man was saying to you. And it's not like you look for it all the time, but you expect it and then you hope for it.
And that's a kind of secret that people doesn't, they knew it, but they don't want to recognize it because I cannot say that.
Is it because they're Catholic?
No. It's because they won't be received in whom I can say that and be received and welcome without any judgment.
The thing is,
Oh, okay, let it go, let her go, let him go, blah, 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 blah. We know that all the time.
you know, it's so sad because mourning, quand on est si triste, when we're very sad,
Yeah.
it's so personal. And I have people close to me who have lost people recently.
Mm.
And after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's when I start talking to them. After 2 months, that's when I talk to them. Because the immediacy is a shock.
Yeah.
Et après ça, il y a une grande soirée, right? There's a big memorial service, there's a funeral, there's this. Everybody's around, you get 17 casseroles you can't eat. And then you're supposed to be fine. And you can be content, but not fine. Because you can be content to start, but you can be sad on top of that until it balances.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no rush.
At all. And this is so true because in the psychologist book, after I didn't invite it, I just want to double check that because I heard that and I said, really? So after 1 year, if you didn't live your grief, it's going to become pathologic. Sorry.
And it causes psychological or physical damage to you.
Exactly. But why it's going to be pathologic, it's because you just don't leave your emotions. We're just stuck inside and we say, okay, it's going to be okay, I'm going to be fine. And sometimes we need to say that to ourselves because we have something to do, we have kids, because it doesn't matter, you know, regarding the situation of this woman, for example, with 2 or 3 kids, young kids.
You can't cry all the time.
Yeah, and she needs to do something with the kids because her husband is just died, dead. And so, and I remember this woman who told me, Raymond, it took me 6 years, and I crashed because my kids were too young. I need to take care of them. Yes, good. But after 6 years, I crashed. And everything just fell apart.
And what did you say to her?
She already, she said me that after she asked for therapy and therapist and help and support. So she was doing, I don't like this word better, because for me it's not a matter of being better, it's a matter of being alive. This, for me, it's not the same, really not the same.
No.
and she said that, how do you feel right now? And is there something that I can do for you?
Mm-hmm.
She said, no, I'm well. Do you have some people around you that can support you? She said, yes, I saw a therapist and blah, 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 blah. And I was, okay, fine, good. But sometimes this is hard to do that by ourselves and say, I need help.
In the old days, and I was there in the old days, stiff upper lip was a very good English saying. Maintenir le forme.
Oui.
Votre suite.
Oui.
Fake it till you make it. Don't cry. Let it go. Don't upset other people.
Exactly.
And even with that, as we're being considerate to other people, we can actually be dying ourselves inside. And for me, how I survived my brother's demise and my mother's, you know, some people, they find different ways to cope. I ran 100 miles a week until I broke my hip. Until I was about 58 and I got a new hip. I ran 100 miles a week, you know, 16 miles every morning and then 30 on Saturday. You know, Sundays off, you know, not for any religious reasons, but my brother told me, if you train 6 days a week, give your body at least one 24-hour period to relax.
Yeah.
And for me now, it's Tuesday, because I still train hard, not like that. But the repetition, the going into my own zone, the being alone, but functioning,
Mm-hmm.
that, it was my survival tool. And I didn't realize it until, in retrospect, that, my God, you know, I could have had a V8. I could have gone to a therapist. Who needs quads at 23 inches big? You know, you just, I could have done so many other things. I did what I knew. And I look at other people who have lost, and if they can find something that can take their mind to the next level in a meditative form, whether it's singing,
Mm-hmm.
or
Painting, writing.
painting, writing, anything of that is very healing. For you, it's writing.
Yeah.
And talking. And meeting other people.
Exactly.
Because you know that you've become kind of a saint around here.
Yes.
You helped a lot of people here.
Yes.
And I love talking with you because, number one, we think the same way.
Yeah.
And I love your books because I'm going to just hold on. I don't know whether we can focus on this, but I'll give it a shot. I'm really bad at this, but there. These books, I'm going to be distributing them to funeral homes in Franklin County and Newport. And I don't drive very much, so I'm going to drop them off and ask them to distribute them further. But it'll be a gift to the people coming in because so many people do not know
How?
They're told to resist their feelings, and they do, and that's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're teaching people a very acceptable, honorable, historically acceptable. And in tribes, different tribes, they're allowed to mourn, they're expected to mourn, they carry on with their daily lives, but they have the honoring of the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to honor them, they think of them and talk of them and speak and open up about their feelings because we owe it to the dead to cry. We owe it to them to remember.
Exactly.
They've earned our tears.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't feel guilty for shedding them.
And this is mostly about this paradox, like the stars. We see them, you know, on darker time. And the way I explain it, it's life as grief, because in conferences I talk about all griefs, not only the loss of someone that we love, but for those people in those residences, sometimes they just feel so bad and mad because they need to sell their house and all the souvenirs in their house, and they're going in those community places, and they need to live in community, and they're not used to live that. So, and they feel so inside because I didn't want to go there.
I know, I've heard that.
So we are talking about all griefs that we live. Everybody, disappointment is a grief, and then in this paradox, the way I explain it, it's life is not pile ou face. Pile ou face.
It's not a lighter. You can't just.
No, when we flip a coin.
Oh, coin toss.
Yeah, it's not. It's head or tail. It's not head or tail, or life is head and tails. So sadness come with, but for me it's not joy but gratitude. But for example, just take joy. So sadness come with joy. They are coming together. Mm-hmm. This is the paradox. And at the beginning, the sadness is that white, and there's a little bit of joy. And the paradox is when we totally embrace this sadness in ourselves, stick with it, stay with it. You know, you're sad, you just take the chair behind this part and stay there with it, you know, in the bloodbath. Stay there. And the paradox is when we live this sadness, joy increase. I cannot explain that, but that's why I lived. And everybody that doing that, they feel more alive.
True. You know, Archimedes' principle. Le principe d'Archimedes. He's a philosopher. The displacement of water, the displacement of liquid by putting in the body. So if you take a 10-pound weight and you put it in a gallon of water, you displace that mass out. Mm-hmm. But it's still 100% filled.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what's going to come in there unless you take that thing out, but when you take it out, you know, you can't leave that hole. You have to fill it up with something.
Yeah. And
it takes time. But I believe in the joy. And a lot of the joy comes from remembering who you loved. Mm-hmm. And yes, they're not, you can't phone them. I think that's the first thing we all notice, eh? You can't pick up the phone and call your dad. You can't turn over in bed at night and embrace Sylvie. And I can't go skiing with my brother. Thank God, because I spent 25 years falling off the T-bar.
He's laughing at you.
There's a memorial to my brother on top of Bay Peak. He was a phenomenal skier, right? So we won't ski together. But whenever I think of what I'm doing physically, you know, I ask for his help if I need it. And he's right there. Right? And I'll tell you something else. In dreams. Do you have dreams that have a communication with you?
It doesn't happen often for me. I just remember twice dreaming about Sylvie. The first one, it was, you know, like an intimate dream.
Well, good for you.
And the second one, it was, usually I don't remember my dream, but this one I just woke up, and I said I was supposed to come in Newport for the audio with Beth, Mike, and Larry at the Nevermore bookstore, and I was in my car. I saw the Roasters restaurant on the highway, and I just turned my head, and I just saw a car hitting my car, but the dream stopped just before the car hit me, and strangely, I was just neutral, no emotion. I just fall asleep again, and at 5:30 I just woke up, and I was feeling étourdi.
Dizzy.
Yeah, dizzy. So I said, oh my God, I'm feeling dizzy. So I just tried to go out of the bed. I was, just bending on my knees and starting to go to stand. And I just feel Sylvie just push me on the bed. I just felt like, a potatoes bag.
Oui.
And she just say, I just told you to stay there. I showed you on your dream, don't go there today.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Thank you, Sylvie. Then I just fall asleep again. I just text my friend from
Not
Newport, my
coming today.
angels. I'm not gonna be there. I just fall asleep at 9 a.m. I just woke up. No more dizzy. And one of my friends sent me a picture of his window scar.
His which car?
In window scar.
Okay.
And there were dragonfly. Il y avait de la gelée.
Oui. Oh, vraiment?
Yeah. Et il était tout en forme de libellule.
Oh! Now, dragonflies.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were sailing with Sylvie, you were on your sailboat and she looked
Yes.
over and she saw a dragonfly just resting on a rope like this, one of those.
Yeah.
And she looked down and said,
It's moving, and it was just like a sign of her father, that she died the day before.
the father had died the day
Yeah.
before.
And each time we saw a dragonfly from then, we just say, oh, thank you, Mr. Asselin, to be with us and take care of us.
Elle était un Asselin?
Yes.
Vraiment? De Bromptonville, Québec?
The Bromptonville, no,
No?
from Gatineau.
Did she have a father in Parliament? A grandfather in Parliament?
I don't know, but
Parce que son ami
the
de mes grands-parents, son voisin de mes grands-parents à Bromptonville, Asselin. Oh yeah, oh sorry.
but it started in Saint-Siméon in Charlevoix.
Oui.
There's Asselin Street over there,
Yeah.
and they started there at Saint-Siméon. That is why she was loving. We didn't know before. I just discovered after that the berceau.
Oui.
We know when the French people came from France to develop Canada and Quebec. They were Asselin, and they started in Saint-Siméon in Charlevoix.
Ah, c'est bien.
And so she was coming from Gatineau.
Well, that's lovely.
But that's a nice synchronicity, isn't it?
Yeah, we all have to start somewhere, folks. But I'll tell you something about les Français de Québec. Ce n'est pas la même chose les Français de France.
No.
The people from Quebec are not like the people from France. Now, the people from France would not understand this. No, parce que they are closer to the people from London.
Yeah.
French from Paris, saying hello. Bonjour. Frenchman from Quebec saying hello. Hello! And I was so lucky because I was the only English little girl in my grandparents' village, and when my mother was hospitalized months and months a year, I'd be sent to my grandparents, who, my mother was born on a dairy farm. They say we educated our children off the farm. Of course, I couldn't wait to get back. So then they retired from their business and came back to the townships and became vegetable farmers, and I was the only English child. So I was raised with passionate emotions as a child, very physical.
Yeah, but you already, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but you already got this openness or open, heart and mind also to, yes, I'm feeling that all day.
I was very fortunate to spend so much time being sent away.
Yeah.
By myself. I would be sent away to the only relatives who would accept me. And it was 100 miles from my family. I said, take Heather. You will take Heather, right? So I was lucky because I was put by the universe in a place where I was not suppressed. My brother was put in around the corner from where we lived in Montreal, with my British grandparents and my father, and they're from London. My grandfather's from London.
Wow.
My grandmother was born in Canada, but her parents are from Birmingham, England. So when my brother was sad, Alan, remember who you are. Alan, man up, pretty much. And they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and 10, 11, 12. And he was not allowed to be sad. And so my grandmother would say, oh, you miss your mom? Because she was always in the hospital. Write her a letter. She'd give me a crayon, draw her a picture, you know. So
Wow.
I became a writer and I became an artist. You know, glory be to my grandmother. And I also have warmth from because I'm allowed. I'm not a typical English person, and I'm so glad. No offense, but I really love having that influence. And my brother ended his own life. He ended his own life when he was 33 because he couldn't express his feelings in a healthy way. Yeah. So you see what you're saying is saving, this book is saving lives. You are saving lives because you're telling people to embrace their emotions.
Yeah, and how to do it concretely. And
What are some of the questions in there?
what do you mean?
Oh, that is the book. The second book has questions.
Yeah, you know, what kind of questions?
Yeah. You still have to buy the book.
I don't remember.
Go to Larry
I
Bradley's
just took
bookstore.
a page. So what compromises are we willing to make to remain dead inside?
What compromises are we willing to make to remain?
What compromises?
I'm not wearing my glasses. What compromises are we willing to make so that
to remain dead inside?
Well, first of all, I'll use my brother as that example.
Yeah, exactly.
Push down your hurt. Be brave all the time. Be strong all the time. Allow no vulnerability into your soul. You know?
And the second one is, what price are you paying to maintain artificially and superficially a walking corpse?
Oh, I don't know. You better read that again slowly.
Okay. What price are we paying to maintain artificially and superficially a walking corpse?
Oh, that's so good. That's a great question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We're faking it?
What price are we paying?
Well, we're losing our true souls. Because we're not allowed to be
That's the kind of question in the second one.
excellent questions. Honestly, Pete. If you're pretending that you're not hurting because you think you're going to bring society down, I mean, you don't want to go to Walmart and stop everybody going, hey, guess what? My puppy died. You know, you don't.
No.
But you've got friends, and if you don't have friends, go some place where you can pour it out, whether it's alone in the woods or your favorite.
Alone in a room.
Yeah.
Those books are workshop, so somebody can just read them and answer the questions and do it by themselves. This is the power of a book.
Oh yeah.
Because some people don't want to talk to anybody. That is fine. Pick a book. Do something.
They'll ask
Write
you
it
questions
down.
that you don't know.
Yeah.
Because I had never heard those questions before.
No.
But they really hit the nail on the head.
Exactly.
Well, let's have some more questions if you don't mind.
Is it natural for humans to be dead for so long and with such heaviness? Is it natural for human being to be dead for so long and with such heaviness?
I think that's when you hope the joy comes in and takes the balance. Otherwise, if you don't let it out, you could maintain that. Because it's a scar that forms around you. It's a shield that forms around you, and you're contenting your sadness.
Another question that I'm asking to people when I make conference and talk to them is, are we so ashamed to be human?
Yeah.
And what means human? We just try to make some robot. And emotion exists, and welcoming them exists because there are some emotions. We have some emotions because we are just robot. That's it. Just forget about emotions for a few seconds. We are just robot. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's no even this quest to be alive or enjoy or happy.
Yeah.
Even it sometimes doesn't just fit with me. It doesn't matter. But without emotions, what is the usefulness of welcoming them?
Yeah.
We are just robots.
It's like anything.
So are we so ashamed to be human? To be, I'm distracted now. I'm broken. My art is broken.
Well, it depends on how you're raised. If you've been raised to hold everything in,
Yeah.
if you've been raised to have a stiff upper lip, then sometimes it's almost impossible to crack through that shield and come out as a human being fully formed with emotion without embarrassment. A lot of you are going to be embarrassed if you cry in public. A lot of you are
Yeah.
embarrassed if you bring anybody else down. We're not supposed to. We're so considerate of other people. Don't be. I mean, I think you can start a movement. Sure, it's in other cultures. We're allowed, we're encouraged to feel everything.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else, it's a purging. It's a purging. You have to let it out so the goodness comes back in. So you're...
And sometimes like a wall, it just need a little crack in it to let go the light
Yeah.
through other water. So just a little crack just can bloom a dam.
Do you know that song by Leonard Cohen?
Which one?
Um,
Not a little.
and A Little Crack Lets the Light In. It's one of my favorite songs by him. And look it up, folks. It's Leonard Cohen, Montreal, my favorite poet in the world. I actually went to Greece when I was younger and went island hopping looking for him because he had such pain in his writing. And I did too. I enjoyed it. I wasn't suffering. It's just that it's hard to throw your guts on a page.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, it's like, oh, it's a purge. But I could feel him ripping it out and throwing it down. It's like, and it's usually about religion because our faith is, you know, he eventually came to a faith that worked for him, and so have I.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to get there in the society that still has demands of boxing us in. And I'm full of joy now. And he was at the end of his life because I love that man. Oh, pure love. And we never met. His niece performed on my stage. I got her to, his cousin lived around the corner from me in East Berkshire. It's like so many connections, but never him. His last album was called Heather. It was not about me. You know, I wasn't his one and only, but I would have been. He never asked. Anyway, so he died on my birthday. He died on my birthday. I mean, how many connections do you have to have? So I wrote a poem and I put it on Facebook, and a friend of mine in California wrote back and said, Heather, I'm sending you a picture. This is his chair. He spent most of his afternoons in my backyard. He's one of my best friends. Why didn't you tell me you wanted to meet him and know him and love him? And I said, well, because I didn't know you knew him. Why didn't you tell me he was in your backyard when we were, you know, I would have been over. Because I wanted to get into his mind and his heart, because he hurt like I hurt about, you know, growing up in Montreal and so many barriers to open minds, you know.
And it's true, and I'm not the only one that's just opening some barriers and doing some things. And on my way right now to because like adults, we are stuck with our trauma and everything. And I'm on my way to write the 4th books about trauma.
Yeah.
And I would like to, if somebody can help me and support me with that, and I would like to spread the book in all America, in all the schools, just to be with kids, you know, 10 years old and more, a little bit in that area, and to teach them how to completely, fully embrace their emotions. They just don't know. There's a lot of community like SEL, social and emotional learning across America and so on. So I have a contact in Austin, Texas, to go there someday.
It's the only open-minded city in Texas, I might add.
Okay, it could be in Newport and in Vermont. It doesn't mind to go in school and just take some time with them and teach them. They just like a sponge.
Well, I know, I did that for
Just-
30 years avec mon papier. Imagine I had a
They just want to know, and parents doesn't know. We don't know how to do it. That's is what about with these books, how to do it concretely in a simple way.
Well, I'm glad you're going to do that. What I used to do, I had the newspaper that went to 28 states and 4 countries, and I did it for 30 years. S'appelle l'Optimiste. It was the Optimist newspaper.
We need to take a coffee again.
Yeah, it was a subtle counter-suicide newspaper for teenagers and young adults all over the country, in memory of my brother, and it helped me heal from my brother. But I called it the Optimist Formula, and you can use it. It's yours now, because I'm not doing the paper anymore.
Okay.
I would go into the classrooms, hundreds and hundreds of classrooms for 30 years, all over. And
And this newspaper is still existing?
No, I stopped in on its 30th birthday, October 2019.
Okay. Oh.
At 30 years, that's enough. But I cried when I stopped it. It was like my 3rd child. But my question...
That's a grief.
It was, but it was easy to get over because it was less work.
Congratulations.
In fact, I delivered it myself.
Yeah.
And my mailing list, it would take me 3 days to lick the stamps and mail it. And then they invented those self-stick stamps, which were fantastic. I'd get them all over my body, you know. It doesn't matter. But my 4 questions when I would go into any classroom, first of all, I'd say, does anybody know what pessimism is? You know, does anybody know what optimism is? Aha. It's the belief, it's like faith. It's the belief in things yet unseen. And then I'd say, okay, I'd like you all to write for me today. And I don't want you to put a title on the story, because you don't know what you're going to write until you write it. It pours out of you, then you know what you've talked about. And I put 4 questions on the board. When they had boards, I don't know what they've got now, but iPad. Sorry, my black felt marker on your iPad is really going to make your parents angry. Anyway, I say, what is your problem? That gets it out. How does it feel? Blah. That gets that out. What are you doing to cope with this? That's coping skills. You didn't even know you were coping. But look, you go for a walk, you listen to music, you talk to your friends. You're coping. Good for you. What are you learning from this experience? That's the light at the end of the tunnel. And it brought them full circle. Just that's what you're going to do. You give them those 4 questions, the Optimist Formula. And as long as they can vomit out their pain, admit their problem, talk about what they're doing to survive, and then, oh my God, look what I learned when Jimmy broke up with me. Oh, look what I learned when Melanie bullied me. Or look what look what I'm learning from this. Look how strong I am now compared to what I was when this thing started 2 months ago. It doesn't have to be death.
No, exactly.
It can be
any
problem.
I'm not talking about death in the 4th book.
No, it's like coping skills.
I'm talking about trauma.
That's it. That's you
Neglect, terrorism, bullying, name it, rejected, blah, blah, blah.
I got the same person. 30 years I heard all those things.
Yeah.
Oh, all those things.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. You would think children would know better because the last generation suffered with the same thing. No, it's part of their learning steps. They all go through it. And I went to a very kind school. I'm still friends with everybody from my school practically. Except a guy named Donald. We won't go there. I never...
No.
What an idiot. Anyway, you don't have to maintain friendships with everybody. But, anyway, so... You have to laugh, eh? Anyway, so... I don't remember what I was talking about, but you can maintain...
Talking about Donald.
Oh, yeah. There are a couple of Donalds in my life that really bother me right now, and one of them is running against Kamala. And I love Kamala. There, point said. Don't you? Because talk about fear at my age. The fear and the stress that was being caused by the environmental news agencies. I didn't know what to do. I was in spinning, and I had a dream My father used to tell me I was a political writer in my youth.
Wow.
And up until not too long ago, actually, well, my dad used to say, someone's going to throw you against a wall and shoot you, because I was not supposed to sign my name. I'm Heather, I'm not supposed to sign my name. I belong to a family that is private. And I said, Dad, I'm a writer. I sign my name. It's a byline. It's a byline. You don't do that. Because he was worried about me. And I wasn't. I wasn't an anarchist, and I wasn't rude or too left or too right. I'm moderate. And I had this dream about, well, before, just after the debate, that was pretty bad for everybody. Pretty bad. I watched it for 20 minutes, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to, I can't. So, the dream was, I was in the farmhouse where I used to work on a farm. My father was at one end of the dining room, and Donald Trump was in the middle, and I was by the front door. And I saw my father in my dream, because he and I talked politics nonstop. He went like this. In other words, say nothing. And I looked at my dad and I realized he's telling me to be quiet or someone's going to throw me against the wall and shoot me. And then I looked at Donald Trump in my dream and I said, I don't respect you. And I turned around and walked out, and didn't he have a Boeing 737 parked on the road in front of my house in my dream. And I turned around and I said, and you drive a Boeing! I was so upset. He even has a, and because my dad was a pilot, I was a pilot.
I imagine, Boeing just...
That's my dream. I almost put a plane in my dream. I can't help myself. But it was a Boeing 737 of all the stupid things to fly. Well, maybe a window will fly. You never know. Maybe it'll just have the wrong TCAS thing and go straight down. God forbid. But, whatever works for him. But dreams are fun.
Yes, when we can remember them.
Yeah.
But
your dream is better. No, she's in VA.
Yes, she saved my life.
But maybe my dad saved mine.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You never know. Until the show. Until I open my mouth on the show.
I'm going to say something strange.
Oh, you're kidding.
But that's the way I'm living all the time. And that is why I called, in the last part of the first book, a mode of life. A, mode of life. B, mode of life. Because for me, it's happening every second. That's the way I'm living. It's really a mode of life. And I am not trying to make some effort or a willing effort to do that. It's just natural and spontaneous for me. And
I feel that.
And yes, and also about what's happening in this environment, in this planet. Not only in America for you guys in November, but I remember Sylvie just told me this phrase when she was just dying on her bed, and she said, "We are just projections, we are just illusions. And for me, this world doesn't exist." And each and every morning when I woke up, and I just say, oh, just get away for a few days, I just need a break. But every morning when I woke up, I have this question.
What is it?
Raymond, it is your last 24 hours of living on this planet. What are you going to do with them? That's why it says 24 hours to live.
I remember that because this is not our first interaction.
Yeah.
I remember that now, and when you said it at the beginning, when I met you years ago, I said I'm going to say that to myself every day, and I don't. I had forgotten to, but you have to live every day. Live every day. That is such a great motto. So many people wake up and don't do anything all day because they think they've got tomorrow to do it.
And for me, and right now, it's like it's my last interview in my life with you.
I'm sorry I ruined your life.
I mean,
yeah, I know. Yeah, you want to make
so
it
I'm going to give you a hug.
Yeah.
After the interview, it's going to be like my last hug with you.
Aww.
I'm living like that all the time. And somebody said it should be stressful. Yes.
You make it count.
Yes, and And there's a sentence or a phrase that I'm saying after, okay, Raymond, it's your last 24 hours on this planet. What are you going to do with them? And the phrase just coming in after that, it's, I don't know if I said that, I don't think I said that. Okay, Raymond, don't leave any suffering on this planet.
Oh.
So for me, it's like a remembering or, to live every emotions right on the spot. And if I cannot do that, I just say to my committee, body, mind, and emotion, okay, guy, I cannot leave, we cannot go there right now. Just leave it for later, and don't worry.
No pressure.
Yes, but don't worry. If you say that, it's going to happen. Don't forget to, for example, I lived a situation yesterday, and I was I was really angry about what's happening, and it wasn't the time to live this angry in a proper way. By the way, in a proper way. Don't take a gun, to live your anger. There's some other solutions in the book to do that. So I just said to the committee, I'm gonna coming back later. It's not the right time right now. And I just forgot it. But yesterday evening, this situation happened in the morning.
Oh.
So I just leave it there. But in the morning, in the evening yesterday, it just, ça a juste remonté, just came out from me and said, oh my God. So I just took the time to fully live this anger.
And resentment.
And yeah.
Do you feel better?
Oh yeah, of course.
This
is the paradox. It's when we just live this emotion, it's just dissolved by itself, and this is not logical. There's nothing logical in that. And now some people will say maybe, yeah, it's impossible, and blah 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 blah. Just try it. Just try. Don't believe me. don't believe me. Just try it.
Okay, well, that's a very good example. And we all go through that.
Yeah.
If you're not fast on your feet, I am not fast on my feet when somebody insults me or hurts my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I am really sensitive, but, if they hurt my feelings, or they insult me, or they tell me I'm wrong, and I know I'm right, which is very rare, but, sometimes I am, or I'm doing things the wrong way, and I've always done it a certain way, and I like what I do, and they have the temerity, the hubris to ask me to do it a different way in my own home. I don't turn around and say, leave me alone. I don't turn around and say, that's not your affair. I don't say those things. I hold it in because I don't want to be rude. I'm Canadian. It's like, I'm really sorry you feel that way. Oh, hit me again. And then it boils.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that because it happens, not often, but when it does, it must happen to everybody. So I'll just wait a little while and then just say, I'm not going to call them and tell them what I think. I'm not going to boil. I'll just yell out loud or go into the woods and scream or something like that, whatever works.
Exactly.
And it'll go away because I purged it.
This mode of life is really simple. So and I'm doing it with the elder people. I'm not asking somebody to do with me. I'm doing myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to stress them. Because sometimes it takes for us a lot of courage just to sit on this chair, because they lose a child before. So I'm asking this question when I started the conference. Who's lost somebody here? So they are 80 years old. So everybody raised their hand. And I'm saying to them, I'm going to ask you a cruel question. Who lost a kid here? A child? And there's 1, 2, or 3. And at this point, I'm just asking them, do you know this song from Linda Lemay? And I'll explain. It's the same thing in French and English and Spanish, by the way. So when a guy loses his wife, is a widow, right?
Right? Widower.
Widower. If a child loses his parent, is orphelin.
Orphan.
Orphelin. But when a parent loses a child,
Oh, God forbid.
there is no word. There is no word, even in English or Spanish or French. There is no word.
No.
And this is the title of the song of Linda Lemay.
Oui?
Sometimes there is no word. And then I'm just welcoming their sadness or suffering, because there's a way to do this. Instead of saying it's not my, it doesn't belong to me. Oh, sorry about that. It's the same people that are saying we are all connected. Oh yes, of course. We are connected when it's
When it's convenient.
yeah, and when it's good for you, but when it's bad for you, and you feel sad or suffering yourself, it is not your business. No. Just be coherent when what you say. And most of the time I'm using absurdity to explain those things. Anyway, so the mode of life is really simple. So, for example, if you feel angry,
Mm-hmm.
so just put the anger in your hand and you talk to the anger. Usually I said, dear anger, no, not dear anger. I don't want to say this word, but
Say it.
I'm going to say it. Yeah. Fuck you, see.
And en français, in Quebec, on the French radio, the F-U-C-K word is totally okay. Don't insult the church, but you can say anything you want about that F word. It's not bad in Quebec.
Okay, yes, exactly. So I'm talking to this emotion in my hand. So I'm going to thank you to be there, and my life will be banal.
Boring? Banal?
Banal.
C'est boring? And pas ennuyeux. Equal?
Yeah, or
Status quo?
or nothing.
Rien.
Yeah, my life will be nothing or incomplete if you weren't there.
That's a good word, incomplete. Mm-hmm.
So just there, sometimes they cannot go further with me. They just stop there because there's too much inside them. So dear anger, I'm going to put you in my heart, and I'm going to put the other hand over, and I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to stay.
You need me. You need me.
Yeah.
You know, the anger needs you. It came to you.
Yeah. And sometimes it can happen. I'm saying that for the people that are listening and visioning this interview. So sometimes the people can feel the energy of the anger just by doing that. And then I'm going to talk. So, dear anger of love, even if I just want to myself, I'm giving you the right to exist. And I don't fear the anger anymore. I'm not saying go away. I'm not going. Je ne crains plus. Donc,
Oui.
je ne crains plus. I'm not going fear of the anger anymore. That means I'm opening the door wide open to welcome the fear. And then we need to put an action. So I'm going to write, I'm going to sing, I'm going to cry, I'm going to yell in the forest, I'm going to hit my mattress, I'm going to take my pillow and I'm going to take a ride in a car and bang, bang, bang on the volant.
Steering wheel.
The steering wheel, not in the middle, but on the, it's really hard. So do it, if you do that, do it slowly. And I'm going to cry, I'm going to yell in the car. I'm going to do something, because we are living on this planet. We are human.
Yeah.
So if you say yourself, I'm going to put some, light on that, it won't work. This is nothing.
You have to embrace it.
Embrace it and do some action, because we are living on this planet.
Embrace it and purge it. No,
Yeah.
but not so you send it to another person. You have to put it your responsibility
Yes,
so that you don't send it to the person in the next car.
thank you.
A lot of people
But-
I've met, go ahead.
No, but I mean, if you are with somebody and it's happening, so you can say, I'm feeling anger right now because of what you said. So that's an appropriate way to say, I'm feeling angry now because of what you said.
Yeah.
And you can just stop there, because being authentic bring authenticity from the other. It's always a win-win situation, all the time.
I'm going to remember that because sometimes I don't, I just stand there like this and take it and then divorce them. You know, it's like, I don't know how, until today, I really have never really thought about telling somebody
And
that
remember,
you're hurting me or something like that.
we
you know?
are human.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you this, and sometimes I'm just freezing myself. And I say that to the people, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling empowered or powerlessness for what's happening right now. So it's going to be probably...
It's a lot better than saying, why do you do this to me? Or when you use the I thing, I know that this is existing, I've heard it before. When you use the I thing and you put your own feeling there, it dismantles their strategy.
Yeah.
But if they're doing it unintentionally, then you can just look at them and say, don't say that to me, because that's not very nice. But if they're doing it intentionally, that's a good way to do
I'm
it.
feeling sad about what you said or what you are doing.
Yeah.
I'm feeling sad because about emotions, we can just keep it simple also. There's only 3, by the way.
Oh,
It's sadness, anger, and fear. And if you want to keep it more simple, there's only one.
love.
Fear.
Oh, darn.
Fear.
Fear.
Because behind sadness, there's always a fear. There's behind anger, there's always a fear.
True.
So even if we cannot say what fear is it doesn't matter. Just try it. Just do it. In this race, just do it. Which is the most important word?
Do. Okay, in this race?
Okay, just do it. There's only 3 words.
Yeah.
Which is the most important word?
I don't know, it?
Just.
Well, I was almost there. 2 out of 3 wrong.
Congratulations,
Thanks.
she's got it.
And what did you get on that test, dear?
The most
Nothing.
important word is just.
Really?
Yes.
Because it sounds so easy.
It's open.
Just.
It's open everything.
Just do it.
Just read it. Just write it. Just listen to it. Just make music. Just. It's open everything.
It's true. And Bob Newhart was a phenomenal comedian. Il a décédé depuis un peu de semaines. He died about 2 weeks ago. Bob Newhart, one of my very favorites. And he had one skit where he played a psychiatrist, a psychologist. And the patient came in and she said, how much would you charge? And he said, $5. She said, for how long? He said, it only takes me 5 minutes to deal with this. I never spend any more than 5 minutes, and I hope you get your money's worth. And he said, what's your issue? So she gave him $5, and he said, what's your problem? And she said, oh, I can't stop parking my car the wrong way. Well, just stop it. Well, I can't stop hating my mother. Just stop it. I can't stop hating I don't get along with my children. Stop it. and he said, have you had enough? And she said, well, no, I haven't really got to the issue yet. And everything she said, he just said, stop it. I drink too much. Stop it. I smoke too much. Stop it. And so she went through all her list, and she said, you know, you got your $5 worth, man. Next. And that's just stop it. Just stop it. And Beth Freeman, Beth Robbins Freeman, if you're watching this, she's my best friend in Canada.
Oh.
So you're not watching this, but I'll send it to you. Because she sent me this clip yesterday from Bob Newhart, because we all loved it. And I watched that thing, I couldn't stop laughing, but I thought, that is so true. Just stop it. Anyway, we've got to stop this show. A long show, but I've loved every minute of it. And one more thing.
Yes.
quite often at my age, I hear people, even at my age, saying how terrible their parents were. And those people have never gone past the infantile stage. They're still adolescents in their emotional maturity. Some of you might not like your parents, but I believe we choose our parents before we're born for whatever experience and wisdom they can give us, good or bad, in this lifetime. So forgive your parents. We're all idiots as parents. We all do the best we can. Your parents did the best for you. We just do the best we can in this lifetime. So love your parents. I hope my children are watching.
And can I just add something?
Of course.
Really short about that. So if you are, because it's just natural to human to put, guilt on somebody else. Oh, it's a fault, blah, 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 blah. All griefs and all the sense of the purpose of grief is just to coming back to ourselves all the time. So how do you feel about your parents?
I'm thankful, very thankful.
Yeah, so if some people are just angry about their parents, leave it angry. Leave it. Take it in your hand and say, oh my God.
That's not what you want to say it.
So, yeah, say it and write it.
Yeah.
It is going to be on the action. So, and if you started just to bring in yourself those emotions and try to live them, so it's going to be spontaneous someday and like a reflex.
Exactly.
Say, okay, my parents because of this, because of that. I feel about them. I feel anger. I hate them.
Yeah. Every night I talk to my parents. Every night. And most nights it's really good. But sometimes a memory comes up.
Mm.
And then I'll say, oh, I really can't believe you said this to me. I can't believe you made me do this. Stop doing this particular activity because you didn't think it was ladylike. Sorry, I can't. You changed the course of my life. I could have been a contender, but then I look at the way I am now, and I look up and I say, thanks. I love my life today, and if I'd been allowed to do that, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. I'm so grateful because you choose them before you're conceived. Otherwise, why would I have married my first husband? My kids were out there going, hey, Heather, you see that guy over there? You've got nothing in common. He doesn't like you. He will never love you. But why don't you get married and have 2 kids? We want parents like you. It's like, okay.
What a nice paradox.
Okay, my kids, thank you very much for having me marry your father. I have no regrets.
I have a question just to finish, and we won't talk about the answer.
Okay.
Just for the people who are listening. I would like you just to send an email or something to Heather, and which is the biggest paradox on earth? Which is the biggest paradox on earth?
I don't know. You have one. Do we all have a different paradox?
Human being is just full of paradoxes.
Okay.
But there's...
We can write a new book called Paradox Law.
But there's one paradox that is like the ultimate paradox on this planet. So if you get any answers or idea or clue, just send it to Heather. Yeah. And I would like Heather that you give me a feedback about that.
I will give you the feedback. That would be our next book, and I say you can name it Paradox Lost. Just, and Dante wouldn't mind, or whoever. And I want to thank you all. Thanks, Raymond.
Yes, well, thank you very much for listening and being with us. Take this time. I'm always amazed when people take some time, just to hear, to read, to just, thank you so much.
You can find Raymond's books at the Nevermore bookstore here in Newport. Larry Bradley will have a box of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to distribute them to funeral homes because everyone who has lost someone, well, a lot of us haven't been given permission to grieve the way Raymond can just help you along. Thanks, Raymond. Thanks for watching Life is Good. Life is beautiful. Every 24-hour period you live is the most you're going to get today. I love you all, and thank you.
Last thing about life.
Okay.
Life is not beautiful.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And even good.
Crap!
Life is sacred.
Oh. I consider myself schooled. Life is sacred.
Sacred.
I love you all.
Oof, I have some, how do you say that in English? You know, le chair de poule?
Wool. Pull the wool over your eyes.
No, you know, chair de poule, quand les...
Gonna...
C'est comme... You know, when you know the...
Oh, goosebumps!
Yeah. By saying that life is just sacred.
Okay, you get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of you all. So
I love
many
you
thanks.
too.
Okay.
Raymond Bernard, he's a really great guy with really great books, and nobody should suffer. But when you do, admit it. I love you all.
Yes.